All right. Well, it's finally happened. Something I've been wanting to do in this closet ever since we moved here into this apartment. After a good 4 years, I finally convinced my mom to let me install a ceiling fan here. And obviously, I picked the best fan that I have that would fit in here, and it is of a brass finish. There's a few reasons why we put this fan in here. One is that now this is going to be a closet being partially used for all of my new in-box stuff, as you can see. On this whole left side with all the new in-box stuff, it's going to be used just for the new in-box stuff, so I can keep as many of them over here instead of bringing them to the storage unit. That way I can save some space for the storage unit for the motors. The other reason is that we put the noisy bird in here at night because he screams a lot early in the morning, sometimes at 3 in the morning or 4. So it can wake up the neighbors, it can wake up my mom and such, and then it'll be hard for them to go back to sleep. So to keep our minds sane, especially the neighbors, we put them in here at night. But when it's too hot in the summertime, we don't do it as often. And because of that, we don't get as much sleep because of how noisy he is when he wakes up early, especially when he hears birds outside chirping in the early morning. So I use that as an excuse to put a fan in here. That way we don't have to worry about him not being able to breathe in here if it's too hot or if it's too humid. So I thought about putting a few fans in here, one of which was the NuTone Petite, the white one. But I figured that would be noisy, and also it's not in the best shape appearance-wise to go in here. But I also figured I'd try to put something of a brass finish, since there's no brass fans installed. There weren't any brass fans anymore installed in the apartment, since I took down the bright brass Infinity and the Pass Mature that was in the kitchen and living room area. And I kind of did miss having a brass fan, so I figured I'd put up a brass one here. The other option was the Westinghouse PT and anti-brass that used to be in the bathroom. But since this closet ceiling is it's a bit higher than the ceiling on the other side of the apartment, due to this side being older and the other portion being an add-on later on, I figured I'd put something on the download in here. Now I also could have put the Amazon North one in here, but I think that would be a bit too powerful for the birds, especially since it would be a bit smaller in here. So I wanted to get a fan in here that would be a kind of tight of an install, in the sense that the blades will be a bit close to the wall, so it'll push a breeze on them, but it won't overwhelm them. So then I thought about the Hampton Bay Minuet 2, the older version that I have. But I haven't tested that yet, and also I don't know if that fan hums a lot. The later version that I have of it in brass hummed quite a bit when I tested it downstairs, so I already have a bad feeling that it would have hummed here as well. So that was out of the question. So it was really between either the brass Minuet 2, the older version that's new in box that I got, or this. Now, since this fan I know is quiet, and I did test it before being evicted from the fan base in the sense of testing, I figured I'd get this one tested before that happened. Seeing that this fan's quiet, I opted for this one. And I got this from Brandon C. Johnson about a year or two ago. Well, he's had it for a year, and then I got it from him. And he got a Habitat, and the fan is from 1985. Nathan installed this because the original box I was holding the light here was actually just a switch box. And obviously this fan has some weight to it, so that was not going to support this. And it is using the ball and socket mount, those recalled ones. However, it does have the recall clip, so it's not going anywhere. Luckily, this one actually had the recall clip when Braden got it. But also, it came with this genuine NuTone light when we found it. It had those regular tulip shades, and Brandon left them at Habitat because he doesn't like them. And I don't blame him. I mean, those shades are all over the place. But when I tested it downstairs, I bought these really nice shades off of eBay that I figured would look perfect on this fan, and they also look very NuTone-ish as well. They're very similar to those shades that Cole has on those the antique-brass one of his. They're very bigger, those larger looking globes. But I figured since this is a smaller fan, I'd try to get something that's like those white shades, but smaller. And everybody who has seen this fan so far has absolutely loved it, especially for the fact that it's such a very unique looking fan in the closet, of all places. And I absolutely love this install. It's definitely become my favorite one, along with the panel in my bedroom and the Infinity in my living room, the black one. But yeah, it gets a little bit more light than we need in here, but the light's rarely on for like a second or so if I'm switching out stuff. But the other reason why I think I tried to put this one here is because, for one, I wanted to put the 52-inch bright polished brass one right there with this exact white kit, but since I don't want to damage that medallion, I figured this would kind of make up for it in a sense just by having a mini version of it. But yeah, the other reason why I put this here is because the church that I would go to a lot as a kid, that has the 8 brown NuTone Verandah Deluxes and the brass Minuet 2, the older version in the confession room, I figured this would be kind of like a combination of both of those fans. It'd be small and brass, like the Minuet, but it's also an actual NuTone Verandah Deluxe. And another thing that church would have often was a lot of lights that had, like in small rooms with like 4 or 5 lights on it, which I always found very odd. That for such a small room, they'd have stuff that would give off a lot more light than needed. Something I would see at churches a lot as a kid, so I figured I'd replicate it and kind of pay homage to that with this install. And also because that church was one that my uncle worked at a lot to do like charities and such before he passed away in December of 2019. So, it's actually the church that, like, when people like have a newborn and they go to church, they'll raise them at the end of the mass, so I kind of have a blessing. And he did that with me when I was a newborn at that church. So, in some ways, it's kind of like paying tribute to my uncle in a way. So, yeah. So let me go ahead and off the light and start off on low, or very low, since this fan does have variable speed control. It's been up here for a good month, 2 months now. Now, when I tested it downstairs, it was on the bell canopy. I just wanted to try it with that to see if it would wobble on, and if it did, I would do it with the bond socket. But also because there really isn't any videos of polished brass ones with a bell canopy on YouTube in this size, so I think I might as well do it with that. Plus, I like the look of it with the bell canopy and all, more than the bond socket, but I do prefer the bond socket in the sense that it doesn't wobble as much. Because it still has a tiny wobble, but it wobbled a lot more when it was on the U-bolt bell canopy and such. But yeah, it's usually used on the low speed or high. I do have to get on a chair to adjust the variable speed because it is a bit high up there. I could have it lowered, but then I wouldn't have the space up there for the boxes. And I did remove a few boxes from the top so I could have space for the blade clearance. Okay, this closet does get hot at this time of the year, so with me moving the boxes around, I would sweat like crazy, so at least hopefully this it won't be as bad. But as you can see, the blades are clearing both sides of the wall. And it still does push a good breeze, but it's not overbearing like it would have been if the closet was a little bit bigger. Since it is a 36-inch fan, and it's kind of tight in terms of the clearance, I figured it was still good. It still moves a good breeze, especially on a high speed, but it won't like make the birds too cold. And that was the biggest thing mattered, is that they don't get too cold to fit at night. And that the fan's quiet, because my cousins live right upstairs. And their bedroom's right above the dining room here, so definitely don't want the fan to be too noisy when it's on at night and keep my cousins awake. Alright, let me go ahead and show off the light. And yes, the video did cut. Sometimes my phone runs out of space, and I forget to delete stuff before I film again. So, yeah. There are times I've noticed that my mom has forgotten to shut it off when she gets up in the morning and takes the noisy bird and its partner out of this cage, out of this closet. Not all the time, but sometimes. But at the same time, fan only really gets to use at that time at night. Sometimes we don't use it, sometimes we do. It really depends on the weather. Usually it gets used on the very low speed though, if anything, not on the high speed or a very medium-ish speed. I really don't see this fan getting used too much in the winter time, but we'll see. But yeah, we had to put a fan brace so that to mount this fan in here, me and Nathan. So definitely, yeah, appreciate Nathan coming here to do it, because I had no clue how to do it, and I didn't want to mess up the old wiring here. And since he has more experience with that, I figured I'd have him do it. Alright, now to move it up to a medium-ish speed. I always put it turn it all the way up, and then I'll bring it back halfway. That way I know like what will be like the kind of get an accurate idea of where it is on medium. Oh, let me shut off the light. I'd rather show it the light on all the time, but I kind of do like the look of it being without the light on too. I already know though, whenever I do an iMovie of this fan, it's gonna be a pain to do, because I'm gonna have to move all those boxes up there off of that so I can film it in different angles. Shouldn't be too bad, but I definitely gonna have to use a different lamp though in here, so not one that goes all the way up there. So if I had to be in this position down here to show it completely. Yeah, it's definitely a fan I'm glad I got from Brandon, and I'm glad I'm actually getting use out of it, because I know this was a fan that he really was hesitant on selling because he really liked it. So he kind of had he really did wanted to get at least some use to get taken care of if I was to own it, and now it's getting used, so it's not just sitting around. And I'm also, I gotta thank Nathaniel Redding for sending me a download for this fan, an actual NuTone one. And he actually really sent it to me for free, so I definitely am thankful for that. But yeah, this is definitely something that I'm really happy with. After wanting to put a fan in here all this time, I finally got it done. It's with the perfect fan that I could have put in here, in all honesty. That's in my collection. The original were cool in here, but NuTones are more unique looking, I think. I mean, originals are cool looking too, but it's just the NuTones is not as often seen compared to originals. Plus, I don't have to worry about going up there every year to oil it too, and that's another thing. Yeah. Let's go ahead and move it up to the high speed. Now, one of the blades you can kind of tell looks less shiny or something like that. Looks a bit off. And that's one of them's a bit more corroded than the other ones. The 52-inch one that I have, for example, the brass parts on that fan are in better shape than this one is, in the sense that the top of this one is more, not corroded, but it's less shiny. I guess whoever owned it didn't clean it often, as it was on a very long down rod and such. So the blade arms kind of suffered from that as well. That's the only thing I don't like about polished brass fans or antique brass ones, is sometimes if a person doesn't dust it often, or like clean it, the brass can suffer from that, where it won't be as shiny. Like, I know there's a way to fix it, but sometimes it can be permanent, especially if it's been like that for a long time. But yeah, it's moving a great amount of air despite it being in a spot where it can't push as much air as it normally would. Yeah. At the same time, I figured I'd kind of put something ornate looking in here to kind of complement the medallion in the dining room. But also, I know my mom likes ornate stuff, so I figured if I'm gonna put a fan in here, at least it's something nice looking, not just something plain looking like the north wind. Mini wet would have been fine in here, but I figured I maybe take the extra step or go above and beyond and put something even nicer. Plus, there's not that many ornate-ish looking fans that are small like this one, so I figured I might as well do this. Especially since a lot of people haven't seen such small fans that are very fancy looking like this one before. But I mean, this fan's never getting used on reverse, so I'm not even gonna bother showing it. I'll do a video of it on reverse like once the winter time comes around. But actually, it may get used on reverse on the low speed though. If we put the burn here that way, it's not like too hot in here. Well, who knows? We'll see what happens. Now, I had thought about putting those clear glass LEDs in here, but the thing is, some of the sockets, so 2 back ones there, are kind of loose, and it's plastic sockets. It's an older one. I figured also, I kind of like that. So the shades are frosted and also clear in the bottom. I figured these light bulbs would look better. So it only lights up the part that's clear, and the frosted part is like kind of dark. I kind of like that. It kind of copies the light shades and such. So that's why I figured I'd do it with these. Plus the glass ones, I wouldn't want it to kind of dig against it. Plus, it is kind of a tight space to get them in there, so I figured I'd do the plastic ones just to be on the safe side so I don't damage the shades. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off and do spin down. And I'll leave the light on because it's actually not, I really do like how it looks when it's spinning down with the light on. So I figured I'd show it to you guys as well. Another thing is that I've actually wanted to put up another 4-bladed fan again in a sense because the only 4-bladed fan that I had up was the bathroom dressing room in the bathroom, so at least I have this one here. Because I have the Panama, which in my bedroom that's 5-blade, the Infinity in my living room that's 5-bladed, and the Low Profile Plus in the kitchen that's 5-bladed. Although I could make the Panama 4-bladed, it's just that it's brushed nickel over 4 spot, why I kind of prefer it with the 5-blade look. That, and I don't like having fans that have 5 blades, just have one of them laying around just so I can use it with 4 blades instead. But yeah, it's come to a complete stop, and that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos to come.